Hey there, scary story fanatics. Welcome back to Cleaving Thought from Bone with your host, Sociopathic. Tonight, we got something new and a little bit more on the intellectual side. So, break out your reading glasses and those nifty tobacco pipes. It's time for a little story that I like to call Quantum Hell. How many of you are interested in the sciences? Soft sciences even, like psychology and philosophy. I don't mean to insinuate that studies of such things are soft and non-important, only that soft sciences are inconclusive due to their non-testable nature. If any of you are interested in the exploration of this thing that we call existence, then you are like me. It's true that most meander through life, simply adhering to social norms, ruminating on a past that only exists in memory, preparing futilely for an indeterminate future, and consider themselves to be nothing more than what has been stitched together in the brain by the mind. But that's okay, because you cannot have an economically driven tribal culture without the majority of its citizens sharing and acting upon a shared delusion. That's just the way it works. However, this leaves the outliers, the ones able to perceive the uselessness of social expectations, and, through the pursuit of knowledge, find something more substantial, creating divisiveness between them and the normies, rendering them social outcasts. But sometimes, actually much of the time, these outcasts will find each other and create small but supportive social structures via strong bonds of friendship. That's me and my friend Sean. Sean and I actually met at work, a mundane office that, at least for me, only provided for my need for an income so I can, pay bills and lead a semi-comfortable life. And due to my time serving as an employee at this dreadful place of corporatism and small-mindedness, I had the pleasure of getting to know Sean over a newspaper headline discussing the applications and finer details surrounding the soon-to-be-launched James Webb Telescope. Subsequent conversations with him resulted in long ponderings and relatable insights regarding topics such as psychology, particle physics, quantum field theory, and more. He seemed to be just like me. He had a strong thirst and decent grasp for such topics, yet didn't quite make it in pursuing a degree in physics or the like. I at least retained a degree in psychology, while Sean obtained a degree in philosophy. Each of us had the intelligence to hold fruitful conversations about things most people couldn't really understand, but never dreamed of any kind of application, or so I thought. I really don't know what he was trying to accomplish. Maybe from his perspective it made sense in the end, but only now, spiraling towards my own, for what it is, can I truly see. Sean invited me over the other night, saying he had much to say that I would want to hear. I tried to ask him more, but he told me that when I arrived, everything would be clear. That night, when I knocked, I was greeted by my friend. I knew he leaned towards the more intellectual side of things, but I was used to seeing Sean in a business environment and dressed the part. Now, seeing him with a bathrobe draped over a full, comfortable attire and smoking a large tobacco pipe that he held in his left hand, he looked more like a character directly cut from Sherlock Holmes' story, rather than the phone jockey that I knew him as. I couldn't help but laugh a little and ask him what the hell he was wearing, but he chuckled and simply shrugged off my question without an answer, telling me that although I was shocked at his appearance, he was not surprised with my shock. This is who he truly was outside of work, I gathered. I then asked him why he invited me over, as he invited me inside. Before he answered me, he asked if I wanted a drink. I agreed, and before I could tell him what I would like to drink, he was already pouring me a glass of what he called his finest red. I've never been a very big fan of wine, but honestly, it was very good, and I'm happy I accepted. As what would be a conversational piece that sat amongst the living room decor was a thick, tall glass case with a finished oak base. Inside was what had to be a replica of the Blackstone tablet from a few of Lovecraft's stories, and at its base, on the bottom, displayed beneath it, was a tome of Lovecraft's work, and, from the looks of its age, likely a first edition of some kind. Beside the case stood a small round table with many books, plants, glass phials, and jars, most of them containing unknown things, and a mortal pedestal. I couldn't help but ask, upon taking my second sip of the delicious wine in my glass, to ask him what the hell all of that was for. He commented a bit on the shrine to Lovecraft, as he called it, claiming to be quite a fan of his work. Then he explained what he dubbed to be his alchemy table. Apparently Sean was growing a garden full of medicinal herbs and other such things in his backyard, and was dabbling with the pseudoscience itself. In fact, he told me that this was part of the reason he called me over. I didn't understand, and I honestly still don't. He explained something regarding how he had isolated a few specific qualities of plants and fungi, and through something to do with magnetic resonance, was able to ensure that he'd be able to remain with me along my timeline, or at least his own. He said he hadn't quite worked out the details, but insinuated that that was the gist. When he started in on the math of the probability scales across an entropic multiverse, he had completely lost me. I understood kind of what he meant, but he was blowing through theoretical formulas and fields of topic. I just couldn't keep up. Basically, from how I understood it, we never actually die. Instead of dying, we exist along a scenario path spread across a multiverse that interacts with an encompassing non-local conscious field along an entropic gradient path, or ever more succumbing to disorder. So, as he put it, new versions of our universe are always being created, with every decision, every this or that scenario. How many times have you almost died? Sean asked me this specific question, but for me, a few times. Not daily or anything, but occurring sporadically in such memorable ways that I never forgot them. Like the time I was in a boat explosion when I was a kid, while vacationing with my parents. The time a hammer almost took a 4-story fall on the top of my unprotected head, narrowly missing me by mere inches. Or even when I flipped my car only last year. Surely a few close calls, but according to Sean's theory, I actually did die, and didn't. Like a quantum superposition, occupying all states, and when collapsing into a single state, all those states still exist, just in alternate universes. So, instead of dying, the unique expression in the conscious field, me, simply transfers to the most logical universe in which I didn't die, and to me, or the observer, the universe just slightly folds in on itself in ways that one does not notice the jump. Others die, lessening what was once your world, and even a few alterations may be perceived. Enter the Mandela effect. And if this was the case, essentially, The consciousness, your consciousness and mine, can't ever truly die. Sounds a little odd and out there, I know, but there is some credibility to this theory. So much so, in fact, the scientific community at large has considered it a possibility and has not yet been able to disprove it. However, Sean said that he could prove it, and I, of course, was skeptical. And that's when he lifted the gun from inside his robe and pointed it at my face. I nearly spit out my wine and forced a hard swallow instead. I pleaded to know his intentions, but one click of the trigger after another, one unfired shot, then the next, then the next, 6 in total. But nothing happened. I started to yell at him for his obviously unhumorous prank, wondering why he had terrorized me with an unloaded gun, when he opened the tumbler, showing me and dumping out the 6 unfired bullets into his hand. I asked him why he loaded the damn gun with dummy bullets and scared me half to death, but Sean pointed out a nearly full box of ammunition sitting on a coffee table not far from his alchemy station. They're not. This is a brand new box, he said. I insisted that, at the very least, the box had to be full of a bunch of duds, to which he pulled one out, loaded the gun, and fired it point blank into a pillow on his couch. The gun fired. I screamed out, startled at the sound. The color drained from my face as I realized how close I had come to death. But Sean explained that I couldn't die. That in accordance with quantum multiversatility, my consciousness was bound to inhabit the next closest universe to the one I had been in, and will continue to do so along a decreasing gradient path. I kind of grasped what he was saying, and while Sean went back to his kitchen to pour me another glass of wine, I wanted to test out this theory for myself. I grabbed his pistol and loaded it quickly. Sean looked at me, shocked, when he came back into the room, and I pulled the trigger, eager to replicate his results. The gun fired, and my friend, a hole now in his face from where the bullet had entered, fell to the floor. Blood was everywhere. For a while, I stood there motionless, in shock, unsure of what just happened or why. But as the years progressed, I had gone to jail for my friend's murder, gotten released after much abuse and torment, lived a life of misery, shame, and now cancerous disease. I finally understood what Sean was trying to tell me. I'll never know exactly how he was able to stay with me and my consciousness as I switched across multiversal dimensions. But he was the exception. The truth is, I've likely died many times. The times I attempted it myself, the stabbings I suffered in prison, or the incurable disease with which I suffer and will always suffer. There are less and less people in my life, and Sean was right. I won't ever die, only exist upon an ever-degrading gradient path that will never reach a zero output or death. Instead, life will always become more and more decrepit. And sure, to you, I will eventually die. To many, I already have. But to me, I'll only grow weaker, closer to death, more and more isolated. But I will never truly die. None of us will. Forced to suffer for all eternity, a forever torturous hell. You will never escape. Forced to suffer the fate, you will all suffer in an end that will never come. Well, it seems the more you know, the more you'd like to forget. But don't you forget to come back here again next Saturday for more gore galore. And until then, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can catch you all again next Saturday. Social media can be very unpredictable, especially regarding horror content. If this content gets removed, all new content will be simultaneously presented on various websites provided in the description to this video. Make sure to follow me in other digital spaces so that you never miss out on the terror. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what's here, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Writing is a dream of mine, and it's all of you that make that dream come true.